Alright, if you're just joining me, I think we're live again. And I am going to be imaging the asteroid again tonight. It's a little bit fainter than it was last night, and it has now moved sort of away from us. It's past the Earth, and so the little line that it makes in the 15-second exposure is not quite as long and obvious as it was last night. So you're looking at my live screen right now. I'm taking 15-second exposures. Eventually, the asteroid is just outside the field of view over here on this side of the frame on the left. And the picture updates about every 15 seconds. So eventually we'll see the asteroid coming in here. I'm not exactly sure where, but somewhere along this edge here. And it's sort of moving at a diagonal tonight because I have the camera in the same angle that we had last night. So let me get going here. Just want to open up the window on my laptop here, make sure that yes, it looks like we are live. Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Okay guys, so once again I'm here for your viewing pleasure, and I'm gonna try to have the patience to wait for this thing to come into the field of view. It'll come in from the top left hand side of the screen, and it'll make its way down towards the bottom right hand side of the screen. I've got to go make a slight adjustment to my outdoor camera, so just keep an eye on along this edge of the screen up here in the top left hand edge, and you should see a little thin line come into view here in a few minutes, and I shall be right back. Alright, I wanted to get my outdoor camera positioned. So here's the outdoor camera. This is showing the telescope and roughly where it's pointing. I moved the position of the outdoor camera compared to where it was last night. Same camera though. Join in on the chat here if you have any questions, or just to let me know that you're actually out there. We're looking, and we have the first exposure with the asteroid coming into field of view right now. So you can see it as this little dash line, or little dot along the top left-hand side here, where my cursor is. That is asteroid 1994 PC1. It is moving away from us now. Yesterday, I think around 4 o'clock my time yesterday was when it was closest to the Earth. So it is scooching away from us at this point. If you did join me last night, you'll probably remember the lines are a little shorter than they were last night, and that's because it's moving away from us, so the apparent motion is not as strong as it was yesterday. I've got to get the word out to a few people that we're there, that we're live. So you see these exposures coming in every 15 seconds. We've got a new one popping in here right about now. And you'll see it slowly moving. So it's going to make a track almost right across at a diagonal. So it entered right there. It'll probably leave the field of view somewhere in this area right here later this evening. Last night, to go from the left side of the frame to the right side of the frame took about 30 minutes. Tonight, I think it's going to take a little bit longer because the motion is a little bit smaller. Yeah, Jack, I am on my game tonight. I was a little flustered last night, just trying to get things going too fast and trying to go live before I even had the telescope set up. Tonight, I waited. I had a nice, relaxing dinner with my wife, and then I got on the computer and I found the asteroid and got the camera positioned in front of it before I even decided to go live tonight. So a little more relaxing for me this evening. And I also don't plan on doing 7.5 hours like I did last night. So probably just going to be live for about 2 or maybe 3 hours tonight. Thanks for joining the show again, though. If you got any questions, let me know. I'm actually going to turn the bullseye off and zoom in on this area so we can see it a little better. There's our little asteroid right there. I'm just being a little quiet right now because I'm letting a few people know via text message and WhatsApp groups that that we're going live, or that we are live. So its closest approach yesterday, it was roughly 1.2 million miles away. And I'm not sure exactly how far away it is now. I should have looked up that information to see like a live position feed or something. Here's the telescope outside. I'm going to go to that for a moment while I try to pull up some information on this guy and see if I can get some detailed specs about how far away it is. I know the magnitude has changed considerably. So last night it was I think it was magnitude 10.2, and tonight it's 11.6. So it's definitely getting fainter as it goes away from us. East Tennessee. Yeah, my younger sister lives in Nashville. I don't know what part of Tennessee you're in, but she lives in Nashville. And they've been telling me about the horrible weather that they've been having. Let's see. I'm looking to see if I can find some information on how far away it is right now. Jack, you may be the only one here. Tell me, is the music okay? The music level a good mix, or is it too low, or is it too loud? I'll adjust to your taste. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything that gives me a live position of how far away it is. Maybe if I just Google, I'm looking at a couple of other live trackers on YouTube here, and I'm not seeing anything that tells me the current position as far as distance goes. It's a good mix. Oh, hey, Glenn's here. Okay, well, thanks, buddy. Let's see, 58 minus 22. I know we had a question last night about how often we have a close pass with this guy. So the next close pass is in 2058. I'm going to write some notes down because depending on how long I'm online, other people may join in. 2058 is the next pass. And then, so that's 36 years from now. And then 2069 after that. So 2069, that's 47 years from now. 2069, 47. Oh, I'm glad my voice is coming through okay. I actually have a pretty decent mic that I bought for a year or two ago when I first started doing these live streams during the pandemic. It's a pretty nice USB powered Blue Snowball. Blue is the audio company, and the Snowball is the model of the microphone that I have. Kind of a weird looking orb sitting here on my desk, but I added a little text graphic up there in the top left-hand corner so everybody knows that we're looking at 1994. Let's go back to the desktop and get rid of this information here. Here's our asteroid. Let's see, what happened to my text? My chat popped out. Oh boy, I tell you, so much more relaxing. It took a little bit of hunting tonight because it wasn't in the same off-axis position as it was last night. It's obviously because of the way I guess it's moving. It's changed slightly. I did a good bit of research during the day today, trying to find out why Stellarium was showing an inaccurate position. I can switch back over to Stellarium and you can see where the telescope is centered. So the asteroid, if we look at the full frame here, the asteroid is right here. So it's just coming in the top corner of this frame. And so that would put it about right here. I guess it is in pretty much the same position as last night relative to not being on target. My neighbors have the searchlights on out there. Of course, I've got my kitchen lights on there. That window right here is into my kitchen, and I need to go in there and turn that light off. So I'll take care of that. Let's get back to our asteroid. I'm going to zoom in a little closer so we can actually see it. moving at 9 miles per second, and it's 1.7 million. So see, it was 1.2 million miles away last night, yesterday, when it was closest to us. So you got a link where you found that information? Because I bet there's probably, wherever you got that info, there's more information about it. And for some reason, all my digging, I can't find it. All right, kitchen lights turned off now. Uh-oh, camera timed out, not ready for exposure. What? Huh. Getting an error message here. Let's see what that's all about. Well, let's see. We'll start it over again and see if I get another error message here. That's going to mess up my time lapse, though. I'm going to have a little gap in there. I'm having some sort of technical issue here. I'm going to get all riled up like I did last night when we couldn't find this little guy. So it's running the exposure, but it's not capturing, it's not downloading the image. Okay. So what do? We turn the camera off, turn the camera back on. Disconnect the camera. Connect the camera again. Unable to connect to the camera. Okay, so we had a problem with this last night when the camera came disconnected. So I need to run outside and check my USB connectors on the back of the camera and make sure everything is plugged in. I shall return. Okay, so everything was plugged in out there, but I think I've got a power issue. Yeah, I've got a power issue. What's going on here? A short circuit is detected in one of the 12-volt outputs. One or more outputs have been disabled. You know, turn everything off. So the telescope is everything that's powered by the mount, which includes the camera, shut down. Huh. Okay. So what we've got to do is we've got to look at make a mental note of where I'm at here in the software. In relation to the asteroid. And I'm going to do a reboot of everything. Okay, so everything is going to disconnect just when I thought we were going to have a nice smooth evening with no issues. All of a sudden this happens. I'm wondering if I've lost everything. So my computer was powered on. The mount has power, otherwise I wouldn't get this page. So the guider was lost though. So we're going to close all of this. Oh, the fun part of troubleshooting astrophotography. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this. I wish I could move this to another window, but I can't, so I can see this. Definitely have a power issue though. All right. Let's launch everything again. See if everything connects now that it says power is good. That's good when you see all green. I'm going to get one red, but that's because it's something that I don't have attached to the system yet, which is the flat panel. And that should be coming up next, the flat panel error message. And you can see the scope drifting because the scope is actually not moving right now. So what I'm going to do while everything gets settled in here is I'm going to tell the scope to go to its home position. And we can see the telescope is moving to the home position. Alright, so it's going to go to the home position. Cancel, close all of this good stuff. We're going to open up Stellarium one more time. And it should, close that, it should say that it's pointing north. It does. And if I punch in the coordinates for the asteroid, so that's where the software thinks the asteroid is, and I think it's actually more like down here, if I remember correctly. So we will tell the telescope to go here. My dog is begging for attention right now. So we're going to get the camera cooling off again. And we will go to imaging, and we'll plate solve on this area here. Make sure that the mount is where the software thinks it is. And really, in a 5-second exposure, this asteroid would probably show up round. So I need to do, oh, it's not quite where it was supposed to be, so it's moving and taking one more picture to do a fine adjustment here. All right, so now I've got to do I'm going to turn recording off. I've got to do a 5-minute exposure here to, a 15-second exposure here to see if we can acquire the asteroid again. If I accidentally say comet, I mean asteroid, sorry. Oh, there we go. So we can see it right down here. So it's moved. My framing is not exactly what it was before. Alright, so it is it's just below center and about halfway from center to the left side of the frame and just below the center line there. So that puts it about right here is where the actual asteroid is. So what I want to do is move to where it's maybe down just a little bit. No, other way, Greg. Alright, so we're going to go there. Tell the telescope to move there. We'll get guiding going once again here. Stop. Start. All right. Okay, so we'll go back to our imaging software. And what I want to do is I want to go to that drive and find that folder, and I want to move everything I did so far into another folder. So this is going to be our third time-lapse sequence. Take a 15-second exposure. We shouldn't have it in the frame just yet. It should be just outside the frame over here somewhere. Okay, so I don't see it. That's a good sign. Everything is good. I'm going to turn looping on, and we're going to start the sequence again here. You know, even with the technical issues, I'm a lot more relaxed than I was last night, because at least I know now where it's at. It should be in the next couple of minutes coming into our frame somewhere off on the left-hand edge here. The camera's taking exposures every 15 seconds and refreshing the screen. The telescope is tracking good tonight, so we're just sitting here waiting for our little asteroid that's moving away from us now. Come inside our field of view. So I don't know. I'm a little worried about that power. It said I had a short circuit somewhere. I think I'm gonna have to get my buddy Glenn over here to test my cables. I did make a few new power cables last week, but I've used them several times and haven't had that issue pop up. I don't know if I've got a short in one of the short cables that I made, a short circuit in the short cables that I made, I should say. I just realized that my microphone was, I had my speakers turned up in here with the music going in the background, and I'm sure my microphone was probably picking that up too, so you guys might have been getting some sort of weird echo on the music. Yeah, Glenn, I know. I was too impatient to wait for your free time, though. You definitely should have been the one doing the soldering, that's for sure. I think, you know what, now that you say that, I'm going to have you come look at them, and we're going to cut them open, and you can inspect my soldering work. I think you'll be impressed. I had good solid connections. I gave all of them a good tug, and they all have their heat shrink on them, and so I don't know what's going on there. I'm almost wondering, and Glenn, maybe you can answer this, so that that new cable that I made that goes from the cigarette lighter plug from my battery up to the main power supply on the computer, that I used the real thick 12 gauge wire. Could that be too thick a cable, or it should be fine, right? It should be able to handle it. So here's our asteroid just now coming into our frame here on the left hand side, right where the cursor's at. So you'll see it coming in the next 15-second exposure here. You'll see it pop into our field of view. There you go. We're back on track, guys. Because I went from like a 18 gauge to 12 gauge wire. And I don't know enough about electricity to know like resistance and stuff like that. Is the 12 gauge wire maybe too thick to push the load that it needs or something? You're sure that they're fine, huh? So the 12 gauge wire is not too thick. I didn't think so either, especially because I saw people on some of the astronomy forums mention suggesting I go that route. So, all right, so here's a close-up of our little asteroid flyby tonight. You can see it right here. The image updates every 15 seconds. I mean, my whole system is only pulling about maybe 4 amps, and that's, I only think it's, if the telescope was moving and the focuser and the rotator were all moving at the same time, I don't think that the total amperage would be 5 amps. So I don't know what's going on. And that's just it. The focuser and the rotator and the mount are never moving all at the same time. The only thing that's got a continuous power draw, which we can look at, is the, see, the mount, which is actually the mount controls the, I'm trying to remember the wiring, controls the mount and it controls the focuser rotator. So those two combined are pulling 1.62 amps. So what I don't know though is, so the current right now is pulling roughly 3.5 amps, or let's see, it went up to 4 there. Because the one thing that I don't have a gauge on is the continuous power that goes to the PC. So there's one output on there that's not switchable, and I don't think there's, I guess I just have to like subtract these two numbers from this number to get the amount of amperage that's going to the little mini computer that's on the mount. Good strong voltage. You know what? It was just now saying 13 something. Is that too much power for, maybe that's what was causing the short circuit. Here's my power graph. No, it's pretty steady. It did some weird stuff right in here though. And this is probably when it shut the mount down. Right here. The computer never died because the computer has a direct line, basically a direct loop through from this Pegasus Astro box. And then I have two switched outputs that are both going to the mount, one driving the mount itself and the camera, and the other one drives the focuser only. So and I did get my tester out after I made those cables, and I checked positive to positive, negative to negative, and positive across negative, and didn't get any continuity errors or issues. So I know just enough about electricity to be dangerous. Well, this is going nice and smooth tonight, even with our little hiccup there. although that hiccup has me concerned because I don't know what caused it. It's not as bad as the hiccup last night where my camera cable got snagged on the tripod knob. That really scared me because I know someone who has had their camera USB port yanked out of it because the telescope was moving with such force that it snagged on something, and it yanked the entire USB port out of the camera, and so it had to be sent off for repairs. So that would have been horrible. Luckily, we didn't have that issue last night. All right, while we wait, one of my dogs wants to say hello. So, come here, little man. Come say hello. Get up here. This is Titan. Say hello. Say hello. You're not gonna make any noise now. Titan, of course, named after Saturn's largest moon. Get up here. Hey, right here. Say hello. Oh, I know. I love you too. Oh. Do you see yourself up there on the TV screen? That's you, you know. Don't bark. That's not a strange dog in the house. My other dog, Sagan, is in the other room watching television with my wife. So we're not gonna see him right now. I think she's snacking on something, so he's not gonna leave if there's a possibility of some sort of food landing on the ground. All right, go lay down. You're famous now. Go lay down. Everybody has seen you. I'll go back on camera if your brother comes in the room so he can be seen as well. Let's see. Is our music still going? Yeah, music's still going. It's just a lull in it right now. So this is about as tight as I want to go on the asteroid. So it's getting ready to update. It is, where is it? Boy, it's right here. It's still right on the edge of the frame here. It's definitely going to take longer. Last night I had it positioned where it was kind of going almost perfectly horizontal across the frame here, and it would take about 30 minutes for it to go, but that was because it was close to Earth, and so the apparent motion, not the actual motion. The actual speed has not changed, but the apparent motion was much faster last night. So it's going to probably take an hour or so to get across at this rate here. We're going to zoom in on it because it's close to that star there. That's kind of cool to watch it pass near that star that's about the same brightness. Okay, so I can't can't look at my analytics right now. Well, maybe I can on my phone. Let me find out, see how many people. I know GP's in the house, and Jack in Tennessee may still be with us. All right, it says currently there are 7 people watching. So the other 7, you guys need to chime in the chat. Tell me where you're from. I'm keeping track of locations, parts of the world. We've got Tennessee. We've got Henderson. I guess everybody's being quiet tonight. Nobody wants to chat. It says here that I've got 7 people viewing right now, so 7 people watching. Oh, well, you know what? My laptop, which has the chat window open, is 1. My phone is 1. So that takes care. And then you 2 guys that makes 4. That still leaves 3 people that are not accounted for. Ah, DFW, Texas. Hello, Arthur's from Texas. Brian and Tens, where are you guys from? What part of the country or world? Let's see. Arthur. Yes, Brian. So the little line that you see right in the middle of the screen here, this is the asteroid that passed by at its closest point to the Earth yesterday, but it's still visible tonight. I'll zoom out so you can see the full frame of field of view. Welland, Ontario. Oh, okay. All right, great. So Canada's in the house. We had someone, I think our furthest observer last night was either India or the Philippines. I can't remember. But we had people all over the world. Bolivia, Dominican Republic, Australia. Jessica was from Australia. So yeah, so if you look at my channel, you'll see a 7.5 hour or a 7 hour and 45 minute live broadcast from last night when it was at its closest approach. But I would, if you want to, there's a table of contents in the description, and you can just scroll down and you can see it's about 2.5 or 3 hours into it when we actually found the asteroid. We had a lot of trouble finding it last night because it wasn't where the software was telling me it should be. So it's easy to see, and you can compare it to the same 15-second exposures that I'm making tonight, and you can see that it was making a much longer line during the 15-second exposure last night as compared to tonight, and that's just because of the apparent motion. Just like when a car is approaching you head straight on, it doesn't appear to be moving very fast, but then as soon as it flies by you and passes you, it appears to be going much, much, much faster. So the asteroid kind of makes the same impression on us. It appeared to be going much faster yesterday as it was closest to Earth, and now it's sort of drifting away. The speed hasn't changed, but the apparent motion has. And oh, I'm sorry. I just kind of assumed it was Brian. I'm sorry. My bad there. Tanisha? Is it Tanisha? Okay. Yeah, they should scare you. I mean, you know, this thing is... I mean, you shouldn't be out 3 nights crying about it, especially this thing here. It's not, you know, it's 1.2 million miles away. So it was, you know, not really a hazard, I should say. And the good thing about this asteroid is that they have been tracking this one for quite a while, and so they know exactly where it's at. So I'm going to go to the outdoor telescope camera shot just for a second and see if I can pull up the chart that I was looking at earlier. Yeah. So if we look at this chart here, so this is information about this asteroid, and we can zoom in on some of the information here. So this is the closest pass yesterday, 1.9 million kilometers from Earth, which is about 1.2 million miles. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I said your name right. Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. I have weird things too. I have claustrophobia, so I don't go into like tight spaces, and I'm afraid to death of scuba diving, and I won't go in the ocean. So we all have our things that scare us. So you'll see the next time this asteroid passes close to us is in 2058, and it won't be anywhere near as close as this pass. In fact, this is the closest this asteroid is going to get to us in our lifetime, because even the next closest one is in 2105, and that's going to be still, another 400,000 miles further away than yesterday's pass. But NASA's out there; they're keeping an eye on these kinds of things, and hopefully, hopefully you didn't watch Don't Look Up. Please tell me if you have a phobia of death that you didn't watch the movie Don't Look Up. Because that wouldn't be a good thing for you. So I'm going to just adjust our frame here. You said you watched The Love last night as well. Oh, you were here last night. Oh, okay. The feed. You probably watched the feed last night. Yeah. Well, that's great. Great. So, what part of the country or world are you in, Tanisha? I'm just kind of keeping track of where all of our visitors come from. Actually, you know what I would like to know more than where you're at is how you found this feed tonight. Were you just randomly searching YouTube, or were you specifically looking for information on this asteroid? Because it helps me figure out how to put in the keywords whenever I'm going live to attract people to my little entertainment broadcasts here. Yeah, see, on the wide field you can barely even tell that it's an asteroid there. This is the full frame of the camera. As we zoom in on it, though, you can definitely tell that it's moving. So we've got Tennessee, Henderson, the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, and wherever Tanisha's from. Yeah, if you have 3 toddlers, I bet you do have your hands full. So everything seems to be going smoothly now. So at least now I know if I get an error saying that a file couldn't download or something, it's probably that power issue again. But I sure don't want to. I sure need to figure out what caused that, if it happens again ever, because I don't want to have a power issue like that when I'm out in the middle of the desert and sleeping in the back of my vehicle while the telescope is running on autopilot, and find out that 10 minutes after I went to sleep, the system crashed on me. That would be a painful evening out. Yeah, Tanisha, I haven't heard about any other like really close passes anytime in the near future. They're NASA and the other space agencies around the world. They're constantly tracking all of that stuff and keeping an eye on it. And the only time, in fact, you probably would have never heard about this one if it wasn't for that silly movie "Don't Look Up" that just came out. Because that's basically what that movie's about. Is some astronomers discover an asteroid that is 6 months away from hitting the Earth, and it actually does hit the Earth in the movie. So it's one of those Armageddon kind of scary movies. If you have a death phobia, I wouldn't recommend you watching it. But I think that's the only reason this one really, it's pretty common to have these big rocks like this one passing by our neighborhood. So 1.2 million miles, which was its closest approach yesterday, is about the equivalent of going from Earth to the moon and back 3 times. I think it's about 250,000 miles. So it's about 3 round trips to the moon would be about the same distance. And there's stuff like this that's out there all the time. This asteroid in particular, it would be pretty devastating on a regional basis. Like, if it was to hit in my backyard here, it would be pretty devastating to southern Nevada, northern Arizona, the parts of California that are close to us here, and the parts of Utah. But I don't think it would. It's not one of those ones that like they think killed the dinosaurs. It wouldn't completely envelop the entire globe and destroy life as we know it. It would be pretty bad though. If something was directed to Earth, what? Well, the answer to that question, they're actually planning a launch, a mission in about, I want to say, in the next 2 years. It doesn't take much to alter the path of an asteroid, even an asteroid this size here. This asteroid that just passed us is about 3,200 feet in diameter, and they are actually planning a mission to send a spacecraft to an asteroid, not one that's coming directly towards the Earth. It's actually going to miss Earth. But what they want to do is they want to ram into it and actually push it and try to push it more off course to make it go even further away from the Earth. And that's an experiment that they're doing. It would depend on how much time they had in advance. Like the silly movie I was just talking about, they had a 6-month lead time. So if we found out that there was an asteroid that was going to hit the Earth in 6 months from now, this test mission that they want to do within the next couple of years would probably get moved up really, really fast, and they would go ahead and launch it as soon as possible to try to bump it out of its way. It doesn't. In the movie, they originally were talking about sending nuclear bombs to it and exploding it, and that's just kind of a silly way of handling it. You don't have to destroy an asteroid. All you have to do is just bump into it, and because things in space move so easily when they encounter another force, it wouldn't take much of a bump to move a huge asteroid like this way off course to avoid the Earth. So I think we're pretty safe. The astronauts, I mean, I'm sorry, I keep saying astronauts. The astronomers that do this for a living, they are pretty well aware of everything that's considered a near Earth asteroid. NEO is what they're called, and as far as we know, nothing is going to hit us anytime soon. Like, and when I say soon, I mean like probably in your children's lifetime, because they are able to predict stuff that far out in advance, unless it's a completely new asteroid that comes from out of the Oort cloud, which is the real furthest reaches of our solar system, out where most of the comets come from. But again, for one of those objects to suddenly head in towards the Earth, something has to bump into it and alter its course and push it this way. So our little asteroid's making good time here. I'm going to open up the folder that I'm storing these files to and see how many files we have so far. Looks like we've got about 94, 95 just now came in, and it is not even at the midway point in my frame. So yeah, so last night it was about 120 images to get it from the far left side to the right side. Tonight it's going at a little bit of a diagonal, so the distance is a little longer, and we're not even halfway, and we're at 90 frames. So yeah, this is gonna take a good while to cross my field of view here. I'll probably just stick with the broadcast here. And then once the asteroid finally leaves the field of view is when we will end our little show tonight. Oh, okay. Well, so Arthur, thank you for that info. So mine was the best feed, huh? All right. Well, I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. Thanks. Oh, you have an LX65? Nice. That's a nice rig. That's a hard telescope to image deep space objects with. Great for the moon, and if you have a good solar filter, you could do some good solar stuff. You could do planetary stuff with that scope too. An 8 inch. That's going to be about 2,050 millimeter focal length, I believe, if I remember correctly. I had an 8 inch Schmidt Cassegrain a while back. I think the LX65. That is a Schmidt Cassegrain, right? Did you lock your car, baby?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so an 8 inch Schmidt Cassegrain, that's going to be about roughly 2,000 millimeter focal length. You could do it with a 2x Barlow and a little planetary camera, like something like I'm thinking the ASI 290 or something. You could do some decent Jupiter and Saturn imagery with that, because you only have to do short stuff. You don't even really need to be tracking because of the way the process works. So Tanisha's asking, would an asteroid ever just appear where no one would see it and it would just hit? You know, I don't want to. I don't want to keep worrying you with this, because it's obviously something that's very fearful for you. But I mean, you know, there's so many things that are possible. You know, I mean, you I could get hit by a bus walking to work tomorrow. You just have to not worry about stuff like that. You have to get out there and you have to cross the street. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it likely anytime soon? No. So please don't worry about that. So Arthur, do you do? So you don't do astrophotography. So you're just a visual astronomer. That's cool. I actually, that's the way I started out. I've been doing this. I'm 56 or 57, and I've been doing it since I was about 12 years old, and started out just visual for many, many years. And then I got into it when back in the days with film, and I gave that a shot for a while, and then I gave up on it because it was just such a miserably difficult thing to try. And then I went back to visual for many, many years. So I've gone from being a visual astronomer to an astrophotographer back and forth several times over the years. Here's our little asteroid. For some reason it looks like our focus has maybe drifted off a little bit, or maybe it's just because I'm looking at it so up close here. I did do a focus earlier. Here's my focus curve. Well, the dogs heard somebody outside. You guys need to be quiet. No, we're not going to be barking this evening. It's bedtime. Go to bed. Go to bed. Thank you. It definitely appears to be getting softer, and I'm wondering if we just have some high, thin clouds passing over outside. So I am going to mute my microphone and crank up the mood music here and run outside real quick just to look up and see if we've got any clouds coming through. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, so I don't see any really thick, heavy clouds. It could very well be one of two things. It could be that we have some real thin, high altitude stuff that's starting to interfere with our view. The other issue that it could be, or combination of issues, if you look at my telescope here, so the direction that you see the telescope pointing, well, right in that same direction is the Vegas light pollution bubble, which is really, really horrible. So, and the telescope is started out pointing like up in this direction, and the asteroid is moving this way, so it's slowly going down directly towards the light pollution of Las Vegas. So I'm wondering if maybe part of the issue is not that. So it's a good possibility, but let's see. We are just about passing the center mark here for our little asteroid tonight. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you dropping in 2 nights in a row here, man. Have a good night. So here we are, guys. We're sitting here watching Asteroid 1994 PC1 leave our neighborhood. The little dashed line right here is the asteroid leaving us. I'll zoom out. There's something happening. We definitely have some... I don't know if my focuser is slipping. I can't imagine. It better not be slipping for what I paid for that thing. But it looks like we've got some clouds moving in here. The thing is I don't want to stop and do a autofocus because that's going to mess up my animation that I want to create. I want to once this is done and it's made it all the way across the frame, I want to take each one of these individual pictures and build a little sequence. So I can actually show you guys what I did with the stuff from yesterday. So let me do this. I'm going to go to the outdoor camera here so I can fool around on my desktop for a moment. Let me get things up and running here, and I'll go back to the desktop. I still haven't actually completed the animation, but it's definitely an improvement over the rough animation that we were making last night. So I've got to find the right files, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the program called PixInsight, which is like Photoshop for astrophotographers, and it's loading all of the images in one of the sequences that I did last night. And you'll see sort of like the little animation of it moving across the sky. The same field of view from yesterday, but you'll see how much faster it moved. So let me... make this a little bigger for you, and you see it come in right here. Now this is not the actual speed from last night. This is sped up. This is 30 minutes of coverage sped up into about 15 seconds here. But you can see the you can see the satellite, I mean the asteroid moving the way it did last night. We also had the same kind of thing happening to the sky. You notice at the beginning how dark it is, and then as it gets closer to the end, look at the background sky just brightening up. And I think that's from the Vegas light pollution, just overpowering my image as it was getting closer to the west. So, but if we zoom in on one of these frames, you can see how much bigger you know, how much bigger it, or how much more it appears to move in 15 seconds compared to tonight. It's a little tiny dash line here. There we go. So yeah. Alright, well, you know what? I'll keep this, I'm going to go ahead and just keep this open and minimize it for now. We'll go back to this. Watching our live feed here. image definitely does appear to be getting softer. So I'm wondering if I do need to just cut the animation short and do an autofocus routine and then pick it back up. My focus is definitely drifting for some reason. We're more than halfway across the field right now, so I'm just going to let it go. If it goes blurry, it goes blurry. Unless it gets obviously blurry, and then I'll just stop and not even worry about continuing on. I promised my wife I wouldn't be online till midnight like I was last night, so we may be ending this. It's 7:45 p.m. my time right now. I don't know that my dogs can handle the three toddlers. The two dogs are a handful for me, so I don't think I could deal with that. I don't think the wifey would go for that either. But I appreciate the compliment, though. That's sweet. I don't know that my dogs have ever been around small children. All the neighbors' kids are like teenagers, so. Well, my buddy Glenn, who's may or may not still be with us, he's got two fairly small kids. They've been around the dogs, and I don't know. One of my dogs I don't think likes anybody other than me and my wife. The other one loves everybody, so. They're both sweethearts once you get to know them. Well, I don't have children. I have two dogs. That's it. My wife and myself and two dogs. I wonder if my guiding is messed up. No, guiding is looking good. 0.46. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty good. Oh, I know your boys love the dogs. It's just a matter of whether Titan loves the boys. That's the issue. Okay, I know what a Shih Tzu is. A Prezi Canario Massive? I don't have any idea what that is. I've never even heard of such an animal. Is that a big dog? The Shih Tzu I know is a small dog. Is the other one a small dog or a big dog? Yeah, if you've got, I understand, Tanisha. Yeah, if you've got 3 kids, you're definitely a kid. compared to the old folks here tonight. But yeah, I'm happy to try to put your mind at ease, because there's, I don't think of all the problems that we have in this world today, an asteroid hitting us is definitely not one you need to be worried about, or be high on your list of worries, period. So oh, it's a Mastiff. See, yeah, there was a misspelling up there. Yeah, I know what a Mastiff is. Yeah, that's a big dog. Yeah, 24. You're a youngin'. I already told you I'm 50. I'm so old I don't even know how old I am. 56 or 57. 68 August of 65. Somebody else do the math. I'm too tired to do math tonight. No, that's quite all right. I'm probably the world's worst speller anyway when it comes to especially texting in a live chat like this. It's quite all right. Well, the only thing about having kids as young as you are right now is you get it out of the way now, and then you can enjoy your golden years. Or you'll have adult children to take care of you in your later years. My buddy Glenn, that's with us tonight, is one of those guys that waited until uh, his, I won't say golden years, but uh, had his first kid much later on. So. Yeah, don't go bar raging. That's not a good thing at any age. So you never chimed in, Tanisha. What part of the country are you in? We've got Tennessee, Henderson, Nevada, and Dallas, Texas. We're going to only be on the air here probably for another 30 minutes or so, however long it takes for this asteroid to get to the edge of the frame here. Let's see, let me move it all the way over. Alright, so it's here, and when it gets to down here is when our broadcast evening will end. So if anybody has any more questions, now's the time to submit them. Hopefully I've assuaded your doomsday concerns there, Tanisha, and you can think of something a little lighter and fluffier to talk about. But I think I'm definitely going to be ending the broadcast here shortly, or as soon as this asteroid finishes this pass through the field of view, because I've still got to go. I've got to go outside and tear all this stuff down and bring it in the house. So. Okay, guys, no other questions out there. We're getting close to the end of the evening. I'm just going to sit here. At least I haven't had any more power issues. That's a good thing. I don't know what's up with that fluke power issue that we had earlier this evening. I wish I could zoom in on this graph, but it doesn't let me zoom in on it. Power's holding steady, except for when we lost power, right in here, which correlates to this drop here. So appreciate that, Glenn. Hope the kids got a chance to see the asteroid tonight. So we are updating my little graphic here to point out the asteroid so I don't even have to talk. Shouldn't be fooling around with this stuff live, but I am anyway, so. Of course, I have to constantly update the position of my arrow here as it's moving, so. I should have come up with some little custom asteroid graphic or something to point it out. Okay, so my buddy Jorge's wanting me to zoom in on it. All right, that might mess up my little graphic. Let me turn my little graphic off, and then I will zoom in on it. I can zoom. I don't know about enhance, but not in Nina anyway. But yeah, so there it is. Turn my ID back, or my ID back on. Jorge, you have me. You have my curiosity piqued with this new equipment that you keep teasing us about. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it in action, man. I like the idea of taking that old van and converting it to a little RV too, like you mentioned earlier today that you want to do. Yeah, I'm getting pretty slick right there with the little arrow pointing out the asteroid for those that don't really pick it up. Obviously, pretty slick, huh, Jorge? I have to keep manually moving it every 15 seconds when a new frame comes in. Over and down, over and down. My buddy Jorge here wants us to do a live stream like this from a remote dark sky location. He's apparently got the equipment to be able to broadcast a signal from the middle of our dark sky sites out in the desert. So that would be cool. We might do that one of these days. I don't know how interesting that's going to be though for people watching, because doing 10-minute subs or doing 3-minute subs, just waiting for the next frame to come in, and imaging the same object all night. We're getting ready to occult that star right there in the next frame, or at least partially occult it. To answer your question, Jorge, I don't know about this one because it's magnitude 11 right now, so it's pretty faint. All right, we're getting close to our final images here, guys. Looks like we've probably got about 3 more frames before our little solar system interloper here leaves us for good, at least as far as my imaging of it is concerned. Well, that is it. That's the last little bit of it drifting off the frame here. The next 15-second exposure coming in here, and it should disappear. Okay, guys, it's gone. So, I promised my wife I wouldn't stay up till midnight tonight. And I think that we're going to probably call it quits about right now. Let's see. I need to turn that off. Okay. All right. That is our last little bit of the broadcast for the evening. I'm going to probably shut down here in about 30 seconds unless somebody has any questions. I'll go back to my desktop here. All right. Well, farewell to the asteroid. Yep, that's for sure, Glenn. At least until, when is the next visit? 2058. But it's not going to be nearly as close. Thanks for stopping in there, Arthur from Texas. Appreciate you visiting with us. And so we're going to call it quits here. I'll see you guys on my next broadcast, hopefully.